wanted to give everyone a little bit of an overview of how I am using D2L in particular. While some of you might be pretty familiar with D2L, I think professors use it in slightly different ways that can sometimes affect sort of how you want to be interacting with the course homepage. So just a couple of things about this sort of landing pad. This is what you get when you click on the sort of the list of our class, and that will show you all the other classes that you're taking. I think it's really helpful for now just to go ahead and minimize the welcome message so that when there are announcements, they'll pop up right here and it's less likely that you'd miss them. So I use the announcements as a way of sort of communicating important information to the class. So I might say, hey guys, I'm going to have this assignment graded in a day, or, check your grades to make sure that, that I didn't miss this, or things like that. So different kinds of just housekeeping announcements will appear right here. Speaking of different kinds of housekeeping announcements and sort of sharing information, I want all of you to go into the discussions forum. And as you look at this course questions forum, what I want you to do is actually click a button here. Yours will say subscribe. I've already subscribed to this. I guess I can unsubscribe, and then you can see what happens here when you click subscribe. So go ahead and subscribe to it. It gives you different options. I think it's fine to show notifications in the mini bar only. That's going to be the little notification button right up here. This will send you an email anytime someone posts to the discussion course questions forums, which might actually be a little bit overwhelming, and sometimes you can miss information that way too. So go ahead and subscribe to this and show the notifications in the mini bar only. What happens when you do that is that you'll have notifications and little red dots that pop up here, and that will alert you when someone has asked a course question. You can follow up, and I always answer questions here. But it's really important, I think, to keep an eye out on this forum, because there's a lot of times important information that happens. So Sarah asked, I can't click on any of the attachments in Unit 1. And if you click on this, you'll see that I replied here, and Marie also did as well, right? So sometimes, even if I can't get to it really quickly, another student will respond, and that's actually great because it's a really good way for us to be sharing information with ourselves. And it also means that then, if I had, suppose Sarah and someone else had emailed me, if I email just them back, then of course it's less efficient. So this is a really great way for us to sort of be sharing information together, and we can also take advantage and help each other out as well. Okay, so I do want everyone to subscribe to that, please, because you are responsible for knowing the information that comes up in the course questions forum. Another thing to note about the content for the class is that you'll notice that as for the getting started module here, important policies and resources, there are basically three things that are happening here. There's the one that's sort of associated with this first top part, and that's just the ones that are sort of our course policies. So how to use D2L, meet your instructor, keys to success, all of that are things that you should have gone through yesterday. But I want to point out too that you could just scroll down and you'll see links from the submodules to university policies and support services. When you're going through content for this class, when we have submodules, it's always going to be important to click on the submodule from the table of contents. The reason being that sometimes I have commentary and notes on the bot, it'll be underneath the link to describe it and explain a little bit what's going on there. And if you are only in the sort of top module, you can't actually see the commentary in the links that are subbed out. So just make sure that when you're going through content, in the case that if we have submodules, go ahead and click on the submodule from the table of contents. One thing to point out is that you can use the course calendar just kind of to see a few of some of the important events that have sort of popped up, but it's not perfect. So for instance, right now you can see that, of course, the syllabus quiz is due March 14th. And in a little while, you'll be able to see the due dates coming up in Unit 1. So for instance, our first introduction is due on March 16th, so at 10 p.m. As soon as this unit becomes available, then you'll be able to see the due date there. So you can use it for the next couple of days, but as I say, it's not going to be perfect. And what you really want to do is make sure that you are following this schedule and that you've printed it out, and sort of have like entered those dates into the calendar. I don't anticipate that there would be any changes to the schedule, but if there were, you would get another notification here with a sort of description that, oh, okay, you need to reprint this document out, and here's what the change was, right? So you'd get a notification that something had. I usually try, if I make changes too, to actually use like a sort of red ink to circle it so that it's really obvious that there were changes. Although in a class that's happening this quickly, I don't see a lot of wiggle room for us to make those changes, so I think it's probably unlikely that there would be any. But please do note that if there were changes, you would get a notification, and it's probably a good idea that you just want to make sure you're paying really careful to these dates that are coming up here. So we can go back in here to the table of contents. I think that is all that we want to do. If you want to be, most of the time when you click on different modules, everything that you'll need to do, or you'll need in order to be successful in the class, is going to be listed under right in here. So you'll have either a list of readings or a link to the readings. You'll have written lectures or links to the VoiceThread lectures. Always do make sure to click on the unit overviews, because it'll just give you a summary of here are the key ideas, here are the goals, here's what you should do, and here's the order that you ought to do it in, right? So it's going to give you a little bit of information and sort of overview about how that's going to be structured. Please do note, again, if you want to get into the course questions forum, you can always go click on the discussions thing and it'll be right there as well. This is also right in here, this course questions and housekeeping. On March 20th, when our discussion sign up or our presentation sign up pops up, it will actually be right below here. So that's where you'll look for that piece of information. I think that, and if you're going to be submitting your paper, you just go into the paper format right here. That's not happening until April 23rd, but that's where you'll get it there. Although there will also be a little Dropbox linked again within the module itself. So please let me know if you have any other questions. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the forums.